I took this job because I needed the solitude. The fire lookout tower, perched high above the endless Montana wilderness, it promised exactly that. A single-room cabin atop a skeletal frame of timber, swaying slightly in the wind, offering an unmatched view of the valleys below. It was beautiful in the daylight. At night, though, it was something else entirely. The first few days were uneventful. I settled into a routine, morning coffee on the deck, scanning the horizon for smoke, logging my observations. I read books, listened to the radio, and let the quiet sink into my bones. It was peaceful in a way I hadn't felt in years. The isolation wasn't just welcomed, it was necessary. By the third night, I had grown used to the sounds of the forest, the rustling of trees, the distant hoot of an owl, the wind rattling the old frame of the tower. So when I first heard the tapping, I barely noticed it. Just the wind, I told myself, maybe a bird pecking at the glass. Then came the whispers. They were faint at first, more like the suggestion of words than actual speech. I told myself that it was my imagination, the wind filtering through the trees in just the right way. But as the night wore on, they grew more distinct, though I still couldn't make out what they were saying. On the fifth night, I finally saw it. I was writing in my logbook when I noticed a shape outside the window. At first, it looked like a branch swaying, but then I saw the eyes. 2 pinpricks of reflected moonlight staring right at me. My stomach dropped. It was a face, and it was upside down. I froze. The lookout tower was nearly 60 feet off the ground. There was nothing to hang from. No way for anything to be up there, but there it was, peering in at me. Mouth slightly open, its breath fogging the glass. I didn't move, didn't breathe. I wanted to believe it was a trick of the light, but the thing blinked. I scrambled back, knocking over my chair. The figure lingered, head tilting in an unnatural jerky motion. Then, without a sound, it dropped out of sight. The next morning, I found footprints in the dirt below the tower. They weren't human. They weren't even animal. They were elongated, twisted like a person had been walking on all fours, but their limbs bent the wrong way. I called it in, but what was I supposed to say? That I saw something impossible? The dispatcher humored me, told me to log it, and suggested I might be tired. That night I locked the door. I kept the lantern burning, even though it made shadows dance in the corners. Hours passed, and nothing. Just the wind, the creak of the old wood, my own heartbeat in my ears. I almost convinced myself I had imagined the whole thing. Then, just past midnight, the whispers started again, closer this time. I clenched my teeth, refusing to acknowledge them. But then came the tapping. Not on the window this time, on the trap door beneath my feet. The only way up the tower was the staircase. The trap door was the last barrier between me and whatever was outside. The tapping turned to scratching, a slow, deliberate scraping of nails against wood. Then the voice came. Not a whisper anymore. A ragged, breathly mimicry of my own voice.
Let me in.
I squeezed my eyes shut, pressing my back against the far wall. The scratching stopped. Silence pressed against me, like a physical weight. Then, a single, soft tap against the window behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't know how long I stood there, frozen. When I finally did turn, morning light was creeping over the horizon. The window was empty. The forest was still. But I wasn't alone. Because outside on the ground far below, I saw them. Dozens of figures standing amongst the trees, staring up at me. And every single one of them was upside down. Then they moved. Not like people walking, like puppets yanked by invisible strings. Their heads lolled, arms jerked unnaturally, but they were getting closer, creepily toward the base of the tower. Then came the sound, deep, resonant like wood groaning under immense pressure. The tower shuddered. Something was pushing against it. I could feel it swaying as the wood seemed to crack violently at every joint. It didn't seem to make sense why I did it, but I left. My feet were moving for the door while my brain screamed at me to stop them. It was as if I was stuck in autopilot, a helpless passenger watching the plane take a nosedive to the ground. I grabbed my flashlight and wrenched the trap door open, descending the stairs 2 at a time. The moment I hit the forest floor, the things let out the most awful, blood-curdling screams. I ran. The forest was a maze of darkness and shifting shadows. I could hear them moving, branches snapping, leaves rustling. Their ragged breathing impossibly close. I didn't look back. I couldn't. Every instinct screamed at me to just run. Then I saw the road. A single narrow path cutting through the trees. I sprinted through it, lungs burning, legs screaming in protest. The figures were right behind me, their movements erratic, inhuman. Then headlights. A truck, a lone driver on an empty road. I ran straight into its path, waving my arms frantically. The vehicle screeched to a halt, and the driver, an old man with wide, startled eyes, popped open the door. I didn't hesitate. I dove inside, gasping, screaming at him to drive. He didn't ask questions. He just hit the gas, tires kicking up gravel as we sped down the road. I risked one final glance out the back window. The figures had stopped at the edge of the road, standing motionless, watching us go. I made it home. I locked my doors. I still haven't gone back to the forest. It's been weeks. But I know it isn't over, because as I sit here typing this at my home, I hear a soft, familiar tap on the window behind me.